we're having an author on later. He's a good, big thinker. Full-time work and the meaning of life. It's a very interesting subject because there's so many arenas of meaning in life. And if I remember to tell him, I can't imagine more meaningful. I can imagine equally meaningful, but I can't imagine more meaningful work than having the opportunity to speak with so many people, both in terms of interviews and in terms of callers. Anyway, just reflections on my work. I need to read to you something of importance. If I can find it, then that will be a very big help. It was written by, what is Ackman's first name? Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a man who has funded Harvard for years at great amount of money, foolishly in my opinion, perhaps even in his opinion now. And he was, a big article was written about him in the Washington Post. So he wrote, to his credit, a long description of how much the Washington Post distorted him as a person and his words in the interview. The Washington Post is a propaganda sheet. And that is what this lifelong Democrat, not me, Ackman, has come to understand. Its commitment to truth is nil. And I now have concluded, I think it's worse than the New York Times. Do you think it's a tie?
It depends on the week.
It depends on the week?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, fair enough. So listen to what he wrote. He had a very long interview. He begins, I am sure all of us have had the experience of reading a story about a subject you know well and finding it replete with inaccuracies and falsehoods. One then turns the page and reads an article about a subject one knows less well and makes the mistake of believing that this other story is accurate. I am guilty of this sin. This again is the wealthy gentleman who gave a lot of money to Harvard and then stopped when he saw the moral depths to which Harvard has sunk. I am sadly repeatedly reminded to mistrust what I read in the media. This is a lifelong liberal Democrat. I keep repeating that. And I am not alone. Destruction of confidence in our media is contributing to societal breakdown. The irony is the Washington Post has a motto which it adopted about, 10 years ago, maximum.
Oh, no, it just started when Trump became president.
Oh, it started when Trump became president, not when Bezos bought it?
No.
Oh, how interesting. Democracy dies in darkness. This pompous motto, in other words, we are the light, keeping democracy alive. That is the Washington Post self-image. The destruction of confidence in our media is contributing to societal breakdown, and that is a very unfortunate state of affairs. During the past few weeks, I spent several hours cooperating with a Washington Post story. Incidentally, my dear listeners, you should go to PragerU and watch the CEO, Marissa Streit, and I explain the distortions of NBC News when they came to PragerU, and you'll get a perfect example of the same thing. We recorded what happened, and then we played for you what NBC did. For the full episode of The Dennis Prager Show, go to pragertopia.com, sign up, and become a full member.